All right, Chapter 10, Trust. Oh, and I totally need to turn off that audio. There. Now you won't hear me as I hear myself again. Okay. The thick morning mist shrouded all evidence of the previous night's encounter with the Dorsian. Ava searched the forest again with her abilities and received signals indicating his location. He's near the point of Hayo's hook closest to the mountains, she explained to Caruncle and Haley. How do you know this? Caruncle rolled up his sleeping pad. She doesn't. Haley emptied a crystal coffee packet into his water container. She just guessed. It's okay, Haley. I know what I'm doing, Ava said. She walked over and helped Caruncle load his bedroll onto the hover sloop. I can talk to the forest, she said in a matter-of-fact way. Caruncle's mustard-colored eyes went wide. You can communicate with the forest, the entire forest. Haley let out a disapproving groan. What? He should know, Ava pointed to Caruncle. He protected us last night. What are the Dorsians looking for me? He's not looking for you, Haley said. Didn't you hear a word that Caruncle told us? If Red Mist wanted to get you, he would have, Caruncle added. As I said, I believe he's looking for. The alien paused. His tusked mouth opened slightly as if he'd just realized something. You, Ava, know where Zen is, don't you? Is that where we are going, to find Zen in the ancient ruins? Yes, Ava answered. Caruncle purred and rubbed his many hands together. Of course, this makes perfect sense. Zen was always fascinated with the ruin. What's more, I do not think Redimus has figured that out yet. Haley threw down his coffee, splattered in the fire with a hiss. Why don't you tell him where the V-Day virus generator is while you're at it? That's not important now, Ava snapped back. You know where the generator is? Caruncle blinked in surprise. Haley stormed around the camp. Yeah, she knows, and she'll tell you. Stop, said Ava. She may even tell you where her sister is, or maybe, if you're lucky, where she got her special powers. Stop it, Haley. Stop. Why, Ava? Haley's tone was sarcastic. You trusted Cadmus, you trusted Aid, and they all let you down, so why not trust this garbage-dealing slug? I am not a garbage trader dealer, Caruncle bellowed, and I am not a thick-headed. Haley got in Caruncle's face. So stop calling me that. I trusted you too, Ava hissed and trembled with anger, and look where that got me. Oh, here we go again. How long are you going to wave that in my face? Haley yelled. Until you trust me. Ava stormed away from Haley toward the pair of muntrunners. Overhead, a light rain began to drizzle down. Ava crumbled up a sustabar and fed it to Bix and Bax. You guys really like this, don't you? She cooed. Over the sound of their crunching, she heard Caruncle's plodding steps as he approached. At last, some rain, he said. This dry climate is bad, horrible for my skin. You better not betray me, Ava said. I am, like you, doing what I can to survive out here. He held his hands up in surrender. Ava pulled her hood up over her damp head and fed the remainder of the bar to the mounts. If Redimus is searching, looking for Zen, he will keep all options open. My guess is that he knows we are traveling south along the forest edge. He will likely spy watch on us just to see where we are headed. Ava was happy talking to Caruncle about a Dorsian huntsman and the plan. It meant she didn't have to talk to Haley, so somehow we have to get past the Dorsian without him noticing us. Yes, Caruncle said, which is tricky because we have to go travel around Hayo's hook to get to the pass that takes us through the mountains. With his fire poker, he scrawled a map of the hook in the muddy sand. To Ava, the landmark that he drew looked like a backward letter J. He continued, We are here on the north side of the hook. He is at the point to the east here, correct? Correct, replied Ava. We have to move across the hook to continue south toward the pass. Caruncle indicated the path needed in order to get around the landmark. Okay. Ava took the poker from Caruncle. Why do we have to go around the forest? She drew a line that cut directly through the hook. Why not just go south, straight through the forest? Great, good idea. Carncle leaned against the sloop. But how do I get all this, and my team, through a heavily wooded forest? Ava looked through the gray drizzle of the forest. Wandering trees, weeping birdcatchers, and other oversized growth formed a dense, impenetrable knot of vegetation. She could feel the plants reinvigorate from the moisture of the rain. She could hear the birds singing somewhere deep within the wood. She could feel her own anger toward Haley cool from the dampness. Get Bix and Bax tacked up and ready to go. I'll take care of the rest. Ava walked to where the green met the gravelly plain of the flats. Can you please help us? I need a path. She closed her eyes and envisioned a trail cutting through the forest. One by one, the wandering trees and other plants began to move, forming a passage into the wood. Carncle put a hand to his mouth and gasped. Shisa! I've never seen anything like this in my life. Get used to it, Haley muttered, and grabbed his things. The rain dissipated to a few drops here and there as they traveled deeper into the forest. Haley followed behind Ava as she led the procession down the tree-lined path. Trailing behind them, Carncle drove the hover sloop. From time to time he would exclaim aloud how unbelievable this feat was, especially when the wandering trees returned to their resting spots behind the sloop, concealing any trace of the passage they had created. I know you're mad at me, but you're too trusting, Ava. I hope you know what you're doing, Haley said under his breath. Ava continued walking, not acknowledging him at all. Why not let this Dorcian, Ava corrected him. Whatever, let him find Zin and take him back to the Queen. We can just tell him where Zin is, then we can all have go on our own merry way. No, we have to get to Zin first. Just trust me for once. Fine. Haley stared ahead, grim-faced with defeat. Ava exhaled hotly. I know you don't like it out here. Whatever gave you that idea? Was it that spitting monster that nearly shredded us to pieces? Or is it the flying knife things? Perhaps it was the fern that tried to eat me last night. After we find Zin, we'll find a way back to Vanpaw, I promise. The sooner the better, then I'm out of here, Haley said under his breath. I want to leave too, but Carncle's the only one who can navigate through this area, and I really need to speak with Zin, okay? Despite her rising anger with Haley, the cooled energy of the forest helped Ava remain calm. Okay, Haley said. Besides, we just have to wait and see what he does to know his true character. As far as I can tell, he's been helpful. Ava glanced back at the junk dealer and his sloop. There you go, sounding like a roe vendor again, said Haley. Ava suppressed the smile that began to form from this compliment. She tied her long, damp braids up into a bun. You know, here in the forest there's much I can do, but I cannot communicate and control everything, especially Dorcian huntsmen. Carncle is the perfect cover for us to find Zin. I just hope that when we find this Zin, he understands that you've been through and listens to what you have to say, said Haley. Me too. Ava led the procession around a large rock formation jutting from the forest floor at a sharp angle. The steely rocks were blanketed in rich green cushions of moss. On the leeward side of the formation, a cavernous opening led down into the earth. Ava approached the rock and ran her fingers over the wet moss. Her eye caught something under the growth, and she rubbed away the grime. The letters HRP were etched into the rock wall. Is this a sanctuary? Haley joined Ava. He yanked off a large patch of moss to reveal the Dynastis logo underneath. Wow, I've never seen one before. Carncle brought his team to a halt and hopped down from the driver's seat. His voice was giddy when he spoke. This is a home cave of the ancients. He seized his boom rod, a lantern, his smudge stick, and an empty cage. Seen one many, but not explored this particular one. He handed the smudge stick to Haley. Let us enter, go, and have a look. I'll carry the weapon, you hold the light. Haley rolled up his sleeves. I've always wanted to see what one of these look like, Ava. Will you show me around? No, you two go on. I'll wait here. Haley turned around. You're not coming? Ava shook her head. She knew all too well that an abandoned sanctuary held the remains of a home and life she once knew, perhaps the remains of a mother, or even the remains of one like herself. Haley approached her. Are you sure? Trust me, Ava said. I know what's down there. You comin', Haley human? Carncle's voice echoed up from the stairwell. That's the first time he's called me by my name. Haley gave his lopsided grin. Maybe you were right after all. Ava smiled and nodded. I'll let you know if I find anything we can use. Haley ran down the steps to join Caruncle. Ava walked over to Bix and Bax and began to stroke them. There's nothing in there that I can use. The muntrunners nickered in delight, as Ava scratched around their beaked muzzles. Everything I need's out here. Hey Ava, take a look at this. Haley jogged up out of the sanctuary. Where's Caruncle? Ava walked over from the muntrunners. Still poking around down there, catching knife jacks. On the moss-laden ground, Haley set down a large plastic container. Are these omnipods? Ava bent down to see what was inside the container. I wish. Ava opened the seal of the container, labeled Evan 42, and reached in to pull out a small stuffed toy, a cat wearing a silver suit. Look, it's a mint in-box Beeboo doll, Haley said. You know, just like the old kiddie programs. All the other characters are in here too. Racing raccoon, outdoor octopus, reassuring robot. That's great. Maybe some of the kids back at Vampaw's will want them. Ava stood and turned away. She felt as if her breath had been sucked from her body. This container was sealed, and there was a whole bunch more in the stockroom. I don't think these dolls have been activated yet. Haley turned the Beeboo doll over in his hands. Is there an on and off switch? Do you know? Ava closed her eyes, her mind flushed with memories. Happy 5th birthday, Ava dear, Mother said. I hope you like your presents. I love them, Ava said. She hugged her Beeboo toys tight. Make a wish, give it a kiss, and it will come to life, Mother replied. Ava ran her finger over Beeboo's soft synthetic fur. Its fabric eyelids were closed as if it were asleep. I wish you were real, she whispered into its ear. Kissed the doll on the plastic nose. The doll yawned. Its eyes blinked open. Hi, I'm Beeboo Cat, it said in a childlike voice. What's your name? I'm Ava, Ava 9. Want to be friends, the doll said with a giggle. Oh, yes, Ava squealed. She kissed each toy and watched with amazement as they came to life and danced around her room. You okay? Haley placed a hand on Ava's shoulder. With a start, Ava was pulled from her memories back to the present. I thought maybe you would like this, he said. I'm fine. Ava wiped her eyes with the palm of her hand. Her gaze remained downcast. Memories. It brings back a lot of memories. Haley brushed Ava's hair from her wet eyes. I guess bad ones. I didn't mean. It's okay. I'll be all right. Haley returned the doll with the other toys to the container. Vampire used to tell me stories about his sanctuary from when he was a kid. I wanted to live in one so bad. It just sounded so amazing. Having your own playground, your own garden, and a robot to take care of you. Ava sat down next to Haley. Yeah, but after a while, all I wanted to do was leave and see the world, the real world, you know? Not what you expected, huh? Haley said. I'd rather be living in the real world than hiding from it. Alright, that's the end of Chapter 10. Preview of Chapter 11. And if we remember the Beeboo dolls, there was the picture in Chapter 10 at the start. So that you guys can remember what they look like.